Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to present my new wheel truing stand and I'm going to build a custom wheel with a fat bike hub. Stay tuned. As I have explained in my earlier videos, I like to ride on the fat tires in the winter time, but in the summertime I don't like the fat tires at all. Especially on the e-bikes, the fat tires are useless in summertime because the fat tires will shorten the range that can be ridden on the single charge. The only point in the fat tires could be the suspension that they make, but my both e-bikes happen to be full suspension models, so I don't have any use for the tire suspension. I have already made a custom narrow wheel with a fat hub for my project e-fatbike. If you want to know more about the project, please check the playlist from there. I already made this custom front wheel with the fat hub for my wife's e-fatbike, and today I'm going to make the rear wheel for the same bike. The rim will be 27.5 inches because I have two daughters that are quite short and I want to make so that the bike works also with them. So I have this 27.5 inch rim which is 30 millimeters wide, and then I have this fat hub which is 197 millimeters. And then I have spokes, nipples and some tools. Yeah, but let's see this truing stand first. I have made this truing stand by myself because I haven't found many commercial versions of truing stands that supports fat hubs. The only one I know is the Park Tool model, but it's really expensive. If you know any cheaper truing stands that support 197 mm hubs, please let me know and please put a comment down there. This is quite simple. I have here a longer plank and then I have two different axles. This is 15 mm for the front axle, and I guess that this is from some old moped or motorbike. Then I have here a thinner axle that I use with the rear hubs. Soon we are starting to build the wheel, but first I will explain something about the measurements. It's good for you to understand that I'm not a professional and I have learned everything by doing, so all my tips might not be the best ones. Then you have to know how long spokes you will need for building a wheel. In the internet you can find many different spoke calculators. I used the DT Swiss calculator because the rear hub is made by DT Swiss. I had only to know the model of this hub and the ERD of this rim. Usually the ERD can be found from the rim specifications, but of course you can also measure it from the rim. In this case the ERD is 558 millimeters. Then I just go to the DT Swiss webpage and find the spoke calculator from there. Then I entered the ERD of the wheel in the calculator. Then I selected the right hub model from the list and the calculator gave me the length of the spokes. So the result was that in the left side the spoke length should be 275 millimeters and in the right side the length should be 273 millimeters. If you are using some other hub, you can also enter the measurements from the hub in the calculator and the calculator will give you the length of the spokes. Okay, now we know everything about the measurements and I have here the right components, so let's start building the wheel. Okay, as I already explained, in my case the spoke lengths were different in the both sides. The longer spokes was here in the left side and the shorter here in the right side. First I'm going to install the spokes in the hub, and then I'm connecting the spokes to the rim. I'm going to install the spokes in the left side first. And the spokes goes so that every other goes from this side, and every other are installed from the other side. And I'm installing first this one in every other hole. And now every other from the other side. Now the other side is ready. And now I'm installing the spokes in the other side. And again, first in every other hole. Yeah, now all the spokes has been installed in the hub. Next I'm starting to install them in the rim. And of course the first one is quite easy. I just install it in any hole. So I'm installing the nipple so that there is same amount of threads visible in every spoke. Now when the first spoke is installed, you have to know in which hole the second spoke should be installed. And for that the easiest way is check example from some picture or some rim. The first spoke comes from this direction and it's like this one, and then it goes there. And when I see the second spoke which goes from the same way, it's this one, and I can calculate 1, 2, 3. There is 3 spokes between this spoke and this spoke. I'm taking the next spoke which comes from the inside the up to outside the hub, and then I calculate 3 holes from here, and then I put it in the 4th hole like this, and then again about same amount of threads visible, and then I'm installing the next one. I'm not taking the next spoke, I will take the spoke after that, which comes from inside to outside, and I'm calculating 3 holes between these, and so it will go. Okay, now the first 8 spokes are on their correct place. Now when you are starting the next spokes, you should calculate which is the correct position for the next spoke. And again, it's good if you have an example rim and you can calculate it from there. So my first spoke here is same as this one here. So I will calculate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And the next one goes there. So there will be 13 spokes between this spoke and the next spoke. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and this is the right one for this spoke. And the second thing is you should consider is from which side this spoke passes this one. And if the spoke comes from inside the hoop, then it should go outside of this spoke, which comes from outside the hoop. So I hope you understood what I meant. Now it could be hard to install the nipple through the rim, and I use this other spoke to guide the nipple through the rim hole. It's quite frustrating if the nipple goes inside the rim, because it's quite hard to get out of there. Yeah, and now when this is on its correct position, then it's easy to install so that the next one goes after 3 spoke holes. So there will be 1, 2, 3, and the position is here. And again, this spoke should pass this spoke from outside. Now the other side is ready, and as you can see now they are quite loose, and when I tighten them they should go in the right position. And you can also check that you have put the spokes in the correct position by checking that this star form is here equivalent from every side. And I forgot to mention that if the spoke holes are not in the middle of the rim and they are rather in a little bit in the left and the right side, then you should install it so that the spokes in the left side are in the hole that are on the same side of the rim. Okay, now when we are starting the other side, the position of the first spoke is important, and I will check example from here, and then I will find the correct position. Yeah, and based on the example, the position of this spoke and the same spoke in the other side, it will be here. And now it should be again easy that I take not the next spoke than the spoke after that, and I calculate 3 holes here. And of course these 3 holes between the spokes and the 13 holes between the spokes is dependent of the amount of spokes, and in this case I have 32 spokes in this rim. And now again, starting off the next round, I will calculate 13 holes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and the position is here. Okay, that was the last one, and also here the star looks equivalent, and I don't know if it's visible in the camera, but the star is a little bit smaller in this side than in this side, and it's because the spokes are longer in this side than in this side, and it makes the star a little bit smaller in this side. But that should be okay. Now, when the rim is ready, I'm tightening the spokes, and we'll see how does it go. And I'm tightening it so that in the both sides there is same amount of threads visible. Then it could be about in the same tightness, but let's see. I'm using this flathead screwdriver because it's easier. I'm using this one in the fine tuning if needed. It's good to start from the valve hole. Yeah, now I'm tightening them so that threads are hidden. They are easier to install in the place when you are not tightening them too much at the first. Yeah. Now they are okay, and now I'm starting to tighten the other side. And again, so that the threads are just getting height but not anymore. Now the spokes are needing some more force because these are tightening the whole setup. Here I will need already this one. Okay, now all the spoke has been tightened so that the threads are just hidden but not more. The next thing, at least I'm doing, is I'm listening how does the spoke sounds and are there any differences in the sound. To my ear, most of the spokes sounds like they are not tightened enough in this side. And in this side the sound is higher and there is more tension, but also there are some quite loose ones. But now it's interesting to see how straight is this at this point. And now I'm using this truing stand. I'm trying to align this with the camera. I'm not sure if you are seeing it, but it's quite straight. Now I'm going to use a zip tie to see how straight is this one. It's somehow straight, but there is a lot of work to do. And now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to tighten the spokes so that they are equally tightened, and I will know it of the sound of the spoke. I'm not quite sure if you are able to hear, but this sounds very good in my ear. As you can hear, there is a big difference. Now they are about the same. This is loose. I'm trying to get them sound at least somehow the same. You can also feel that if the tone is lower, it is also easier to tighten. Now the other side is somehow on the same level. How about this one? This is a little bit loose. Okay, now they are sounding also quite same. Let's see what is the situation now. I can also use this spoke. First I'm checking the horizontal alignment. It looks like the alignment here is correct, but the valve position is a little bit in the left. So I'm moving them in the right by tightening these several spokes in the right side on the valve position. There is most need for the alignment is right away after the valve, so I'm tightening from that position more. This is in the middle of that position, I'm tightening one round here and then a little bit less in here and in here. Yeah, now it's quite okay from the valve position, but there is still need for adjustment after the valve position. Somewhere here I'm starting to tighten from the middle point and I'm tightening it more. How about now? Yeah, now the horizontal alignment is okay. There is a slight vertical adjustment need and I'm trying to find the place where is it. It's there. And now the horizontal alignment is balanced and now I have to tighten these spokes equally from the both sides. I'm taking just half round here and half round here and a little bit less from here and here. Yeah, that position is now okay, but there is another position which starts from there and ends in there. So I'm tightening these two, one half round, one half round, and then a little bit less and a little bit less. Here is quite much, it's lower here in this position than in the other side, so I think that I'm loosening some spokes from here. Okay, now I have done the final adjustments. So the basic principle was that if there is need for the vertical alignment, then you have to tighten or loosen the spokes from the both sides equally, and then if there is need for the horizontal adjustment, then you have to adjust the spokes only from the other side. And now, as you can see, the wheel is quite straight. Of course, it's not perfect, but because it's a mountain bike wheel, there is some tolerance allowed, at least when I have made it. Now the next thing is that I'm going to put some rim tape here and install the tire, and of course I'm making the tubeless setup. When I have finished this tire and installed both tires in the bike, I will show how does it look like. Okay, now I have transformed my wife's full suspension e-fatbike to a normal mountain bike. I think that my wife and my daughters like to ride on the narrow tires in the summertime because it saves the battery and of course the bike is lighter. And this kind of setup is possible with every fat bike if you do your own custom rims as I did. If you like this video, please press the thumb up button, and if you haven't subscribed my channel yet, please do that also. And please remember to press the bell button to get the reminders of my new videos. Thank you for watching. Bye!